Hello everyone, you're very welcome to the first week of the final year project class. This week is an overview of really the project process. So we're going to look at who are the participants in this, a rough timeline as to when things need to be delivered, what those deliverables will be, and then what the first steps we'd like you to take. Now the first thing to say about all of this is there's a process we undertake every year. There's certain steps along the way and certain people we give to help. And as long as you follow the process, everything will be fine. So who are the participants in the process? Well, there's the student, their supervisor, their second reader, there's the project coordinator and project monitors. So the student is you. It's ultimately your job to get a chunk of software written and a document explaining how you wrote the software, what you used it for, how you tested it, how you evaluated it, how you designed it. You will be assigned a lecturer, probably within the School of Computing, as your supervisor, and they'll assist you with the time management and project management of the project. It usually isn't expected that they will assist you with technical issues, although if you are having technical issues, feel free to contact other lecturers in the school about it, or even ask your supervisor their advice, but it wouldn't be typical that they would be expected to give you help on the technical issues. We'd hope that you'd be able to solve them by going to the usual sites like Stack Overflow and things like that. If there's issues you're having and your supervisor is unable to help you, you might give them back to the project coordinator, Damien Gordon, or if your supervisor might let me know there's issues going on. So again, to emphasize this point, the supervisor's goal is to direct, advise, and obviously assess the outcome of what you do. They're not there to do the project for you, and indeed, as I said, it wouldn't be normal to ask them for technical assistance, more like ask them for writing assistance, because you're going to produce this dissertation document as well. As well as that lecturer, another lecturer will be appointed who's your second reader that you'll only meet twice, once at Christmas and once at Easter. So you'll give presentations at Christmas and at Easter, just letting us know how you're getting along. And there'll be another lecturer appointed who will just read your material, what you've written, and attend your presentation and just make additional suggestions. I'm the project coordinator. My job is to make sure all the projects get done, make sure each student who submits a proposal gets assigned a supervisor, and make sure that those relationships are going well. And if it's not me in the room with you when you're giving your presentation at Christmas and at Easter, there'll be another lecturer from the School of Computing who'll be assigned to monitor that, just to ensure fairness and timekeeping are adhered to. So in terms of timelines, if we look at this as starting at September, finishing around April for the demos, we've 2 slots in the middle, the Christmas holidays and the Easter holidays. So the project starts in September. You're working on your proposal up to October 12th in this case. Just before the Christmas holidays, the last week, you'll be asked to generate a report about 25-30 pages long, could be up as far as 40 pages depending on your project, which documents all the work you've done in semester 1 on your project. And you'll be asked to give a quick presentation, ideally of the research you've done, plus some kind of simple technical prototype, just to show that you can get the platform working. You'll have your Christmas holidays then, and obviously you're going to have exams after Christmas as well as working on your project, so as to manage your holidays times, that you're both able to spend a lot of time revising for your exams, but also to keep your project ticking over as well. Then January you'll do your exams, February, March, working on the project, developing it, testing it, evaluating it, and then you'll submit a completed document and software just before the Easter holidays, and after the Easter holidays there'll be a final presentation of your system working. So that's the rough overview of the process. And in a sense, the write-up should be going on from day one all the time. The research and background for the first month or so, designing software first month or so, developing software second, third month or so, testing and evaluating. That's a rough schema of what the process looks like, but different projects will be different in terms of their outcomes. Just a quick note on testing and evaluation. If I were a chef and I were making soup, when I taste the soup, that's testing. I'm just checking if I like it, but when I give it to the customers, that's evaluation. I'm finding out if it works. So if you're writing software, and let's say you're writing a tourist application to help tourists walk around Dublin, then you need to test it with people to see if it's effective. If you're writing a tool to help teach students about statistics, you need to test it on students so that to see if it works or not. If you're creating a game, you need to get people to play it. It's not sufficient for you simply to test it yourself and say, well, it works fine. You want other people to evaluate how well they think it works. The key deliverables in terms of your project are, for October, it'll be the proposal. For December, you'll write a report, 25, 30, 40 pages long, plus you'll give a presentation to your supervisor and second reader. And then Easter time, you will present your software, give a completed dissertation document, and also we do this thing where we put a bunch of computer monitors in our laptops in a large auditorium or room, and we have different employers and different academics come along and visit it. We call it the project fair, and very often people get jobs out of it. Some people even get prizes from it. So if you do a cool project with nice visuals, that's a great way of attracting employment. So the first thing you need to do is decide on a project topic. And some questions I always like to think about are, what subjects have you liked that you've done so far, if any? What assignments did you find interesting that you could build out into a project? What lectures seemed like fun or interesting or knowledgeable about a particular area that you might want to have them as your supervisor? And if there is somebody like that, it would be as well to email them in the next week or so and just say, I'm in my final year, I'm thinking of doing a final year project. I was wondering if you had any ideas to help that might be interesting or relevant, or ideas for projects. If you've been working in the past, either in IT companies or other companies, or even your life experience, is there anything that suggests a system, a tool, an app, something that would help people buy things, sell things, write code more efficiently, learn about plant life, whatever it is? If there's anything that interests you, great. Could you do a project about that? And it's also worth looking at what students did last year, and that's all up on the project website. Just a quick tour of some projects from last year. There was a student who created an app and a website to help people with Alzheimer's. They worked closely with the Alzheimer's Society about this. A tool for developing apps that used AI to improve the API. An application that used blockchain for ticket purchasing. An application that used blockchain for tracing drugs, so each individual tablet was traceable from manufacturer to wholesaler to pharmacist retailer to the patient, so that you could uniquely identify and trace where drugs go. Capturing and verifying digital footage, particularly low-res digital footage. Computer networking with different kinds of protocols. Computer processing or computer vision to identify weapons and videos. Crypto alert trading application. Again, a tool, an app and website to help people with depression and anxiety, and working with external organizations on that. Developing a classroom management tool rather like Brightspace. Creating a dynamic and proactive system for helping scale microservices. A tool to do encryptions using neural networks, artificial neural networks, image recognition of different dogs and different breeds based on both machine learning and image processing, heat maps of different property price areas and then predicting where the prices will go in the future, and then a recommender system for property prices. So if you've ever been on Amazon and you shop a little bit, sometimes it'll say on the homepage other products that are recommended for you. We call those things a recommender system. So it looks at the past on what you've bought or what people like you have bought, and then it recommends things to you on that basis. So recommender systems are hugely important and hugely growing. A digital signature system for security authentication, a sentiment analysis based tool for Twitter. So if I pick a particular topic, let's say the government of Ireland, and I look up that phrase on Twitter, I can look at the tweets automatically and determine whether people are positive about the government or not by the sentences they say. If they say, I love the government, then you know there's a positive sentiment towards them. If everybody's saying, I hate the government, then you know that there's a more negative sentiment towards them. Of course, the way some tweets are structured, they'll say, I love the government, ... not. So there's a bit of computational linguistics, a bit of natural language processing you have to do to make sure you understand the full meaning of the sentence. Again, another project using neural nets to help build APIs, a tool for helping novice weightlifters. And again, for any project that gives medical advice or psychological advice or advice about medical conditions, I always suggest that students put at the start of the application, this is purely for entertainment purposes or this is purely for research purposes, but not to make sure that the people who are using the application don't think they're getting expert medical advice. A universally designed mobile application, so this idea of designing for as wide an audience as possible, and of course using virtual reality in architecture, which is hugely popular at the moment. So there's a collection of words or phrases that we're seeing to do with final year projects and lecturers' interests. A lot of AI, a lot of machine learning, a lot of software development, education, security, lots of different areas. How do you know if your idea is good? The best thing is to email me, damien.x.gordon@tudublin.ie, with the subject of FYP 8, because you're level 8, project ideas. The course website for this is damiantgordon, DAMIANTGORDON.com. And if you go there, or even go in as far as /courses/projects L8, you'll get to the main course website, which is full of stuff that might be useful for you. The first thing to think about is the proposal. So the proposal has a title, a summary, some background and references, the proposed approach you're going to take, what deliverables you'll do, the technical requirements, and you have to review 2 other final year projects as well. So I'll go into more detail on that in another video. Thanks very much. Thanks for listening.